How's it going, guys? Counterfool here with my episode 2 review of season 3, titled Sick. Thought it was really nice for this episode, but for little spoilers, I forgot to say that don't watch this if you haven't seen anything. Like, if you're not completely caught up, if you missed one episode of season 2, go back and watch it. You miss a lot from each episode if you don't watch them. Um, what else? Comic book spoilers. There might be one or two maybe if you're not fully caught up to the prison arc, which is pretty early, I think, in the comic books. Spoilers. I just don't want to do that, so people are like, "Hey, you didn't say spoiler alert or anything." That's on your damn fault if you watch it. Sometimes I get curious and keep looking at spoilers. I did that for episode 1. I refrained myself from doing it this week, um, so don't get curious if you're looking for answers for the next episode, just stop, and just do something else. That's what I found. It's just I'll sit there for an hour or two looking and looking, and it would be pretty pointless. Um, so yeah, episode 2. At first when I saw it, when I finished the episode, I'm like, yeah, this episode was better than season. Not season. I always see season. Episode 1. But looking back at it, it was more of a defining episode than the first one. The first one was better, but episode 2 was kind of, let's slow down the pace a little bit. Let's stabilize this prison arc. Let's not like go gory everything. Let's just fast pace. They need to slow down, which I think they did because it said like I said, this episode defines a lot of people, a lot of the characters for the next coming 6 episodes for the half season, and mostly um the whole season. 14 episodes left, so wasn't the best episode, but like I said for the third time, it's the most defining one. It's gonna define probably the season of how characters are gonna be portrayed and everything. Also, big news: Dish Network also signed with AMC. That lawsuit is over. Dish is back with AMC. For people who have the lowest package for Dish, you got a free preview till November 21st. People at the top, America's top 200 channels, they have AMC, so you don't have to worry. But a month free trial, pretty much for AMC. So if you don't have that package, switch to DirecTV or something. I don't know. It's a good show, and you should probably have AMC to watch it. I was a Dish subscriber. I am. So it's nice to see them back, and 14 million viewers. See Dish right there, no, right there. But it's nice to see it because Dish has 14,000 subscribers. That's a big viewership. I'm only surprised the second episode got more views than the first one because Dish, like an hour or two before it announced it, they were so excited, and like Gronkowski scored a touchdown, and in fantasy, and I beat, not gonna name them. Nope. But yeah, let's go right into Walking Dead. Starts off right after Herschel's leg gets cut off. Uh, the prisoners are just thrown, no, like they see the prisoners leaving behind. Like for the first 5 minutes of the screening, it's about Herschel. Like the prisoners you end up seeing, and the group finds out about him pretty quick. Rick goes and tells them, "Hey, there's survivors in this prison." They're like, "Oh my god!" And then they just stop and look at Herschel. Like shows you how bonding this group is now. Even though there's other survivors, Herschel is hurt, and they're gonna, you know, try to make Herschel survive. So another little show of how much the group is bonding now. Some people might have not noticed it right away, but it was a little key, a little smidget of, you could say Easter egg, pretty much. But they talk about the prisoners. There's 5 of them: Big Tiny, Oscar, Andrew, and Axel, and Tomas. I thought it was Thomas, but it's Tomas. Um, who's the leader of that group? He says it's his prison. They all were in that cafeteria that they took Herschel to. They were there for 10 months. They don't know what's going on, so they tell him, they take him outside, tell him. And this is when start seeing the tension. Also, this episode is a sampler for what's to come. Like, how humans are going to affect other humans and the conflicts and everything. So, like I said, the most defining episode. It'd probably be the defining episode for this, maybe half season. I don't know what they're doing for episode 9 through 16, so gonna have to wait. But you see that there's tension building already. The prisoners say, "Hey, it's our prison." Rick came in the prison, said, "We cleared out a lot of walkers. It's our prison," and it should be because they stayed in the cafeteria for 10 months. So a little tension there. And you find Axel, the part of the group, seems like the odd man out of there. Seems like he tries to be the Dale of the group, you could say. Um, and you could say Tomas is like Shane, and the rest of the group is just T Dog, pretty much. Um, so yeah, they make agreement. Hey, give us half your food supply, which happens to be a lot. Um, Thomas lied about it, so it shows you that it was the tension kept building, and he was planning on doing something. But then they also make a deal that they'll help them clear out another cell block. They all agree. So then they go to teach him how to kill walkers. Pretty funny scene. There's a couple funny scenes in this episode. Like they'd like to hide those in there and just make you laugh a little bit sometimes. Um, they start prison riots on these zombies, and they're like, "No, hit the head for the head, aim for the head." I don't gibberish, but they do it the second time. They start doing it. Big Tiny wanders off, ends up getting scratched by a walker who, a very gore scene, who pretty much rips his hand off, his skin, his muscles, and not the bones, and scratches him. Like it was just like a hook. It looked like a hook. It was pretty gory. Um, Gets him. He's gonna die. Like Rick's thinking, maybe we should throw him into a cell, or maybe let him go on until he turns and just kill him. Tomas, the leader of the prison group, I'm gonna call them, he comes up, hits him with a, I forgot, I don't know, but he just smashes at him. He has no more skull. He just beats the shit out of him, and that's when you know that Thomas is crazy. Um, and you show the tension a little bit higher because they're all looking at him like every scene you saw with them two together, the tension rose every time. And then the next scene, um, they go in the laundry room. Rick tells them open one door, opens two doors. Um, I could tell from that little scene that he's gonna try to kill Rick. Like he wants to take over the prison. He knows there's other prisoners, probably possibly women. So he knows, hey, you know what? I don't know when he had the time to conspire with the other prisoners. I think him and Andrew were the only ones. So maybe Big Tiny. I'm not sure. He was killed really early. But they go in, opens both doors, you end up seeing a walker get thrown on Rick, and almost his head cut off by whatever weapon Thomas was using. I think it was the pick type of thing he hit Big Tiny with. So he's trying to kill Rick on accident. The comic books, I think he does kill Thomas on accident. I'm not sure if it was him or maybe Andrew. It might have been Andrew, but you've seen some of the comic books and show up with different characters, different aspects. And so yeah, you see that at the start when the tension starts building, and then he goes behind a walker and pushes the walker on Rick. Daryl comes and kills him, showing that little, you know, president and vice president, whatever bond, whatever you want to call it, kills him. The walker, not Rick. And you see Rick give him the nod. He's gonna kill him. He's gonna kill Thomas. Like early in this, when they're walking to that laundry room, Daryl's like, give me the sign, and I'll kill him." And what happens is, after Thomas is like, "Shit happens when he pushed the walker. It's only self-defense." And then Rick's in one of the most defining scenes of this whole series. And the defining moment for probably the rest of this mid-season. He says, "Shit happens." Looks at him, takes a machete, and hits Tomas in the head. And Andrew tries to hit him with a baseball bat, runs out of the prison into the courtyard where they came in at first. and locked him out. He's like, help me, and it's like, nope, closes the door, just thinks, sits there and thinks a second, like blindy, and he's like, well, and he just moves on. Like now you're seeing that Rick, if you're human, he dealt with Shane. He knows how people change during the zombie apocalypse. So he's like, nope, I'm not dealing with you. If you're gonna make one problem, I'm not gonna deal with you. So he gets rid of Andrew and Thomas. So only two prisoners are left: Axel and Oscar. Excuse me, a little bit of a dry throat. Um, ends up throwing a cell block. That just like here, whatever. They give him advice, you could say, and it's only two prisoners left. I think they'll end up going with the group. I think Axel's the one that's gonna survive. I think Oscar's gonna try to harm one of them, and Rick's just gonna kill him. Like, if they both stay, I would be pretty happy about it because it expands the group and it kind of more plot line. But I think Axel's the one that stays. And after that, you just see more, a little bit of plot line working out. Carol goes out there to the fences, kills a woman walker, and is trying to get ready for Lori's pregnancy because Herschel, she doesn't know if he's alive. Also, he does wake up. He's not dead. He is perfect. He's not perfectly fine, but he's alive. He's not turned. No virus in him. So it's just gonna pan out a little bit. But you see Carol cutting up a zombie, and then they show an angle outside the prison, showing that there's somebody watching the prison. They've established that now. That was the ending of it. I should go to the scene before when you see Rick and Lori. In these scenes, you have to be very careful and look at them and look at their body language, their tone, their diction, the words they use, and how body language. Here, Rick hasn't looked at her. Like he's only looked at her once since they got into prison. Um, puts his hand on her shoulder. That's all. That's all that happens. Doesn't even look at her. And when they start talking about, he doesn't want to talk about the relationship. He avoids it, and what the last words he says to her is, "We are thankful that you saved Herschel." He didn't say I. He said we. There was a big, big, big um, breakthrough in the thing. It's showing that there's when he puts a hand on his shoulder, that shows that they're getting a little bit closer, but yet Rick doesn't. Rick still doesn't forgive her. Showing that he's just treating her as another person in the group. He still realizes he's his wife and everything, but there's tension. Who knows what way it'll go? It definitely way it goes will depend if is to see if Lori will live. If it goes bad, I think Lori dies. If it starts to come back together, I I think Lori lives. But that's an interesting plot line. You don't see Laurie Michonne, no, not Laurie, Andre Michonne in this episode. I think they did a good thing with that. Some people said, why didn't we see him? We definitely see him next episode. They've already said it. You see Merle, you see the governor. That plot line starts to evolve. I think they'll focus a lot about that on the next episode. Doubt we'll see any of the prison at all. Uh, the prisoners left, I think they won't be relevant for another, they'll probably will come back to 5 or 6 to be more relevant. Um, whoever was peeping on Kara, I think we might find that out next episode, maybe. But it's definitely human. But it's interesting. I didn't really particularly like how they handled that ending. It went from Lori. It was a very key situation, but they totally hyped it up because I was reading reviews and they're like, "Oh, this is a big moment." I understand the way he says when he says "we," it's a big moment, but it wasn't. They hyped it up to be like, "Oh, this is game changing." It wasn't game changing or anything. And then Carol just gutting a zombie, getting ready for C-section or whatever certain operations she might have to do on Lori when she has the baby. And they just show that somebody's spying on her. Like, that's a nice cliffhanger, but they could have played it up a little bit more. I thought she was gonna die from the walker, even though you put it through her eye and everything. I thought, you never know with the show. They always like leave cliffhangers like that. Um, I was just looking at such, but they left a big cliffhanger. Who is it? I don't want to say it's the Woodbury survivors. It might be what they might do is take the prison arc and take some of the stuff after the prison arc from the comic books and put them in the prison arc for the TV show. So it's on after this watching this episode. I don't have any guesses what happens. All I know is Andre and Michonne end up going to Woodbury, and they meet with Merle. They meet well. This Andre meets Merle. She knows Merle. It's interesting to see if they actually go straight to the prison right after that, or how it plays out. You don't know what's gonna happen at all. Which that show does nice because you don't know. I don't know what. First two episodes I pretty much known for watching previews. I know this episode that a prisoner is gonna die. I didn't know three of them were gonna die. They played that really nice. So yeah, it was a great episode. Not as great as episode one. The scene in this episode, the middle part of it, was the best scene in the series yet. I want to say yet because you just see Rick change. Like you know how he's changed now. You know how he's gonna be a leader. How much he's learned in the past almost year, you could say. So very defining episode. Very sample size for what the governor is gonna do to this group. We don't know if it's gonna be the comic book governor, who's a very really dark guy, or is it gonna be kind of a laid back one who just explodes in anger and just goes all out on them? I can't. It's really hard to guess. And it'd be interesting what characters they might bring back in. Just end a little video here. I think they might try to bring Morgan back. Since Tyrese from the comic books isn't there, they might. I think they won't. There won't be. There'll be some times where you won't see Rick at the prison. He might be somewhere else. Maybe he goes back to his hometown, or he ends up at Woodbury somehow. I really think he'll actually travel outside the prison. It's a big it's a big thing for the prison because when he leaves, shit goes down. Um, so that might be an interesting plot line. And this episode left a lot of questions, which is good. For episode two, and you don't know really what's gonna happen the last 6 episodes of the mid-season. It's a very good episode. So I want to thank you guys for watching. I don't know if I missed anything, but I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you for season. I always want to say season. Episode 3. Actually, let me think. I want to make sure I covered everything, but I think it was covered. Big episode. It might it's a big setup episode, you could say. It's not a big episode, but it set a lot of stuff up, a lot of plot lines, and there's a lot of theories that could be out there. So I want to thank you guys for watching this 18-minute video. I'm gonna try to tone them down every week. It's early in the season, so there's a lot to talk about, and there's not much background on it. So I want to thank you guys for watching, and I hope you enjoy, and I'll see you for episode 3, which is titled Walk With Me.